Welcome back to the War Grove War. In today's video, I'm going to be talking about the new Fyreslayers versus Idoneth Deepkin box, and what it means for the two factions moving forward. Before we get started, I would like to give a special thanks to one of my moderators on my Discord. They play both the Fyreslayers and Idoneth Deepkin, so they were able to give me some of their thoughts as someone who plays both these factions, and kind of what their expectations moving forward are, and kind of their thoughts on this box as well. So thank you for that. Without further ado, let's get started. So what's actually in the box? So on the Fyreslayer side, we have the new hero, the Auric Flamekeeper. He's the new foot hero. You get 10 Hearthguard Berserkers or Auric Hearthguard. They're the same kit, just different ways you can build it. And then you also get 10 Volkite Berserkers. On the Idoneth Deepkin side, you get the Thrallmaster, which is their new hero. You get 10 Namarti Thralls. That's the melee variant of the Namarti. And then you get 10 Namarti Reavers, as well as one Alapex, your big old shark. Now, I think just kind of taking a look at this, I think the Fyreslayers got the short end of the stick on this box. Really, until we know the rules of the Flamekeeper, the only good thing here are the Hearthguard Berserkers. Hearthguard Berserkers are currently the Fyreslayer's bread and butter. You want as many of these as you can take. Volkite Berserkers are neat, but they're really niche, and they don't really perform as well as some people would like. So I think that having the Berserker, really all you're getting out of here is just more Berserkers. On the IDK side of things, it's a good value, but it's niche because IDK is just eel spam. You just want as many eels as you can get. Sure, you can make Namartis work, but you're really not getting too much out of these. Oftentimes I don't see very many Namarti Thralls. Occasionally I'll see a Reaver unit just for kind of skirmish unit. Alapexes are great, and we don't know about what the new hero can do. Hopefully the rules are really good and they help buff Namartis a fair amount. So we might see more Namarti infantry builds going around with the IDK. But I think that the IDK side of things is a good value, if not a little bit niche in terms of what you're getting. So let's talk about the new heroes, the real big things here. So they're both foot heroes, but for the Fyreslayer guy, he revolves around funeral rites and taking Gold off of fallen Fyreslayers. So he probably revolves around having your units be slain around him and either recycling Gold or giving some sort of aura. We really don't know other than he has stuff to do with dead Fyreslayers. The problem with this new hero is Fyreslayers already have a ton of foot heroes, so he's already trying to fight for a contested hero slot, and his rules might be too niche, depending on what the buffs are, what the conditions are, and all that jazz. Because Fyreslayers, I don't want to say they don't die a lot, but they don't have a lot of models, and they might not be providing all that much value, depending on how the funeral rite rules are. But one upside for him is he's most likely a priest. The Fyreslayer priests are really powerful, and their invocations are really good. So if you have another priest, that is good. So that is one upside to this hero. For the IDK hero, he is also a foot slogging hero. But similar to Fyreslayers, Idoneth Deepkin already have a ton of foot heroes, many of which are very specific and niche in their rules or what they do. But I think the IDK hero really has me interested to see what they're going forward, trying to take the army. The hints and teasers on the Warhammer community article kind of state how this hero revolves around changing stances and buffing Namarti. So depending on what this means, And it could be really interesting to see how Namarti change. So I think that his rules could be interesting depending on what these stances are. This could be a whole new allegiance ability for a potential new IDK book. Um, we don't know yet or what these stances mean. The only thing we have to go off of is the different kind of melee profiles the Namarti Thralls have when they kind of change stances or they change targets, really. But um, I'm definitely interested to see what this Namarti, or excuse me, this Thrallmaster can do, but I'm being cautious, I would say. Before we move on to my general thoughts on the box and these two factions moving forward, I would like to give a thanks to my Patreon supporter. It is kind of wild to me still that I have a Patreon supporter. It is super amazing of you, and I would like to thank you very much. If you would be interested in supporting my Patreon, there will be a link in the description. There's a few different tiers that come with different excuse me, different benefits. Um, if that's something you want to do and support the channel, then there'll be a link in that description. So my thoughts on the Fyreslayers and IDK considering the box reveal. I think overall this box is kind of meh, and generally speaking from the community and my Discord moderator, that's the general consensus for anyone on the Fyreslayer or IDK side of things. Fyreslayers definitely got the short end of the stick out of this box, but hopefully with this box, this means that GW is going to be releasing a Fyreslayers and Deepkin battletome sometime soon. IDK definitely needs it a little bit less, but that's just because their first edition battletome still holds up really, really well. Fyreslayers need a little bit of work though. Um, the Fyreslayers in general, though, I think they need a lot of work in terms of unit diversity. I think they could use a named character, maybe another battle line option, and then some other monster or beast. I think that something to break up the monotony of all of the Fyreslayer units is definitely needed. At least for me personally, I find it very hard to differentiate the different Fyreslayer models because they all look the same. They have very similar silhouettes, they have very similar sculpts. It's mostly just like different weapons, or this guy has a cloak, or this guy has something. It's not really much different. Um, so I think that a big Fyreslayers release would be warranted, just to kind of help make them a bit more unique than just 3 or 4 different types of angry ginger dwarves. On the IDK side of things, it's a little bit more interesting, I think. They're still holding strong with their first edition battletome, but IDK has a ton of specialized foot characters, so depending on the rules for this Marty Thrallmaster, it might be kind of like it won't be good enough, or it'll just kind of be like he's fighting a contested spot really. And considering the Marty aren't popular as is, it seems a bit odd to say the least. But if GW wants to have an Amarte be used a bit more, I think that there should be some more variants of them, maybe a little bit more elite infantry, like a great sword unit, or maybe a hybrid ranged melee, kind of harpoon elite infantry. Um, I also think that IDK could use another big monster, like a crab or a jellyfish, or just kind of something out there. The great thing about IDK is that their theme and their kind of overarching aesthetic is incredibly open and diverse. So you can go in pretty much any direction you want with IDK, whereas Fyreslayers it's a little bit pigeonholed into a very specific area. So that's definitely something that IDK has over Fyreslayers, but personally, I don't think that IDK is going to get any of this anytime soon. I think that at most they'll get this hero and then the battle tome, which is a shame, but we'll just have to see what GW reveals in the future. So that is my thoughts on the Fyreslayers versus IDK versus box. I think that moving forward, this is interesting to see what GW has in stock for these two factions. Both of them could use various different additions or changes. But we'll just kind of have to wait and see because really this Battle Force box or this Versus box didn't really do anything all that spectacularly. It's just kind of meh. Um, Overall, though, I am curious to see what the future holds for these two factions. Um, Anyway, if you would like to be a part of the community a bit more for my channel, I will be leaving a link to my Discord in the description. There's a fairly active group of people there that hang out and chat, and I am often active in there talking. So if you want another avenue to interact with me, there's that. But if you enjoy the video, please leave a like or a comment. And if you enjoy this type of content, consider subscribing. This has been the Wardrobe of Will, and I'll see you guys next time.